The courtroom was already tense when the case began, filled with quiet murmurs and anticipation. A young girl stood nervously near the front as voices started to rise. Judge Judy, known for her firm control, quickly stepped in to restore order. She looked directly at the child and asked Officer Byrd to escort her outside. The girl hesitated, trying to speak, insisting she had something important to say. But the judge, unwavering, instructed her again to wait outside. Byrd gently guided her away as light laughter rippled through the room. The real matter was about to begin. Once the distraction was removed, Judge Judy turned her attention to the adults involved. She calmly summarized the situation. Two neighbors living close to each other, both claiming connection to a kitten. Miss Engel admitted she had purchased the kitten for her daughter earlier that year. The judge began asking precise questions: when the kitten was bought, from whom, and for how much. The answers came hesitantly but clearly. It had been purchased in April 2014 for $50 from someone on Facebook. Already, the judge seemed skeptical. The questioning shifted toward the kitten's early care. The judge asked about vaccinations, expecting documentation or proof. Miss Engel claimed the seller had handled that, but she had no records to show. This immediately raised concern. Judge Judy emphasized how crucial veterinary records are, especially for young animals. She explained that kittens require a series of vaccinations, not just one. Yet, despite owning the kitten for nearly 2 months, Miss Engel admitted she never took it to a vet herself. The judge continued pressing. Had the kitten been microchipped? No. Did it wear a collar? Not consistently. Each answer revealed a pattern of neglect. The kitten eventually wandered off, which didn't surprise the judge at all. Miss Engel claimed she later found it again, but her timeline was vague. The judge listened carefully, piecing together the story. It became clear the kitten had been frequently outdoors, largely unsupervised. Then came the defendant's side of the story. They described seeing the kitten wandering around for days, often entering their home uninvited. To them, it appeared to be a stray. They had watched it roam freely, with no collar or sign of ownership. Eventually, they decided to take it in. Even then, they waited, checking newspapers and the neighborhood for any missing pet notices. When none appeared, they assumed responsibility. After about a month, they officially decided to keep the kitten. They even obtained permission from their landlord, ensuring they were following the rules. Only then did they take the kitten to a veterinarian. There, they began proper care, vaccinations, neutering, and treatment for an eye infection. They presented receipts to prove every expense. The judge carefully reviewed the documents, clearly impressed by their diligence. The expenses added up quickly. Nearly $100 for vaccinations and neutering, plus additional costs for treating the eye infection. They didn't stop there. They also maintained regular nail trimming due to the kitten's unique condition. The kitten was polydactyl, meaning it had extra toes, requiring extra care. Without proper trimming, the nails could grow into its paws. The defendants took this responsibility seriously. Judge Judy compared this level of care with Miss Engel's earlier admissions. The contrast was stark. While one side had neglected basic responsibilities, the other had gone above and beyond. The judge openly stated that the defendants were clearly better caretakers. Miss Engel seemed defensive, but had little evidence to counter that claim. The courtroom audience reacted with soft laughter and murmurs. The story then shifted to October. The defendants explained how the kitten had gone missing from their home. Unlike before, they acted immediately. They created posters and searched the neighborhood. Their concern was evident. Then, unexpectedly, they spotted the kitten in Miss Engel's window just 1 day later. The discovery shocked them. They confronted the situation quickly. They even offered a compromise, returning the kitten in exchange for reimbursement of what Miss Engel originally paid. To them, it was a fair solution. After all, they had invested far more in the kitten's care. But the emotional attachment on both sides complicated matters. What began as a simple misunderstanding turned into a legal dispute. Back in court, Judge Judy focused on responsibility. She questioned Miss Engel again about basic care practices. Had she ever trimmed the kitten's nails? No. Had she taken it to a vet at any point? No. Did she have any vaccination records? Again, no. Each answer reinforced the judge's earlier conclusion. The judge pointed out that caring for a pet is not optional, it's a responsibility. Owning an animal requires time, money, and attention. Miss Engel admitted she hadn't met those standards. Meanwhile, the defendants had consistent proof of responsible ownership. The judge made it clear that effort matters in these cases. Despite all this, the law remained straightforward. Ownership was determined by purchase, not by who provided better care afterward. Judge Judy acknowledged the defendants' dedication, but reminded them that emotional attachment doesn't override legal ownership. The kitten, legally, belonged to Miss Engel. The defendants tried one last time. They expressed how deeply they cared for the kitten, calling it part of their family. They even said they would prefer keeping the cat over receiving money. Their emotional plea was heartfelt, but the judge remained firm. The law did not allow her to transfer ownership under these circumstances. Judge Judy explained the emotional reality of the situation. Miss Engel had a young daughter who loved the kitten. Taking it away would affect her deeply. While the defendants also had a child, the legal claim still stood. The judge emphasized empathy, but upheld the law. Still, the judge issued a warning. She made it clear that Miss Engel was now fully aware of her responsibilities. If the kitten were to be neglected again, no collar, no microchip, no proper care, the outcome might be different next time. The courtroom reacted with knowing laughter. Finally, the judge delivered her ruling. Miss Engel was ordered to reimburse the defendants $196 for the veterinary expenses. However, their claim for lost wages was dismissed. The decision balanced fairness with legality. The defendants were compensated, but ownership remained unchanged. As the case ended, both sides showed mixed emotions. The defendants were disappointed not to keep the kitten, but relieved to receive some compensation. Miss Engel, on the other hand, was visibly happy. Her daughter would get to keep the pet. For her, that was what mattered most. Outside the courtroom, tensions lingered. The defendants expressed frustration, insisting the kitten had become part of their lives. Miss Engel stood firm, believing the kitten was rightfully hers all along. Neither side fully agreed with the outcome, but the legal matter was settled. In the end, the case served as a lesson. Owning a pet comes with responsibility, not just affection. Proper care, documentation, and attention are essential. While kindness and effort matter, the law ultimately defines ownership. And in this case, despite everything, the kitten went back to where it legally belonged.